You know that popular saying, never go to bed angry in a relationship? It's a very one-size-fits-all understanding of how long or how quickly different people's brains should digest conflict or differences or miscommunications and misunderstandings in a relationship. What if someone's brain needs more time to digest and reflect on recent misunderstandings, miscommunications? And I certainly know for myself, as an avoidant person, in my upbringing with my caregivers, when I had very strong feelings about something or I needed help or support, I was essentially shooed away and had to retreat to my room and process those emotions and feelings on my own. I was trained to not even bother to go to my caregivers, to the point where over time, I was conditioned to feel that I should always process my emotions and feelings on my own, away from others, to the point where the concept of processing my feelings and emotions with another person feels so foreign to me. And I imagine that might be happening for numerous avoidant people. And that's why in this video, I want to talk about this concept of avoidance falling in love in the absence of their partner that I see numerous attachment professionals talk about, like Types Gibson of Personal Development School, and how processing our emotions on our own plays a part in that, and include a story time to bring some humanity to this concept, as I always like to do on this channel. And it's not this manipulative or manufactured absence of someone ghosting the other person or giving them the silent treatment for a week. I'm just talking about the normal, everyday, mundane absences that we experience in relationships, like when both partners are at work and you have to spend the day apart from the hours of 9 to 5 p.m. Or maybe there's some recurring issue in the relationship and one of the partner has to go away for a business trip. Those common absences that will happen in relationships where maybe if there's an avoidant person in a relationship, these moments and time away from their partner help them to digest things happening in the relationship and reflect on them. And it definitely helps on top of that if their partner isn't at all threatened by that time and space. So I'm going to get into that. If you're brand new here, welcome to Confessions of an Avoidant. My name is Awando. I'm just here to be your avoidant friend on the internet. And I'm doing a story time series this month, the month of May, because I'm a May baby. I'm a May baby. So yeah, this whole month, basically, I was like, you know what? Let's celebrate and commemorate by doing story time for the whole month and getting really deep, really personal. Okay, so let's jump into this. So this concept of absence. So as I said, these are just moments in a relationship where you are just away from your partner. It's not a forced absence. It's not stonewalling your partner for 5 days absence. It's just the everyday realities of you will have absences in your relationship. Your partner will, because you have lives and you have jobs and you have family and you have things to do. And I hope the little anecdote that I gave in the beginning of the video can paint a picture of how avoidant people can get trained and get in this pattern and this rhythm of processing things independently, digesting their feelings and their emotions and the perceptions of things when they're alone. Sometimes it can be easier for us to have that clearness, that clarity. Is clearness a word? To have clarity about maybe some conflict in our relationship, or maybe some misunderstandings or personality clashes that we were having. Maybe we were getting feedback from our partner, or we were giving them feedback. And in the moment of the conversation, the heat of the conversation, we might not always be able to process how to proceed in that moment. Sometimes we need space to digest things. Drink every time I say the word digest in this video. I think that's been like the 5th time. I need to think of a new word. But yeah, sometimes it's easier for me to come around to something that my partner's saying when I have space from him, when he's not saying it in the moment, sometimes I can hear things better with space. And with space as well, I can better just feel the feelings when there's distance, and maybe I don't see him for a couple of days because he has a business and he's always having to run around with his business. But I don't see him for 2 days. It's easier to kind of just be in my feelings, miss my partner, and not feel threatened by maybe some feedback that he had for me or some solution that he had for the relationship that maybe in the moment I couldn't hear very well or I couldn't receive very well. And how that affects our feelings deepening for another person in their absence is that other person allowing us to be ourselves and be someone who might need more time to process things, might need more distance to process things, or taking it as an attack that we are just different from them. And when I say needing space or distance to process things, this doesn't look like going 3 weeks without seeing someone you're dating or leaving them on read for 5 days and not writing them back. These are some pretty extreme versions of avoidance. And while they do exist, for all you know, the person isn't even avoidant in these scenarios. Maybe they're just avoiding you because you're part of a rotation of different people that they're hooking up with, or maybe they're married and haven't told you, you've not put the pieces together of that yet. So I really don't want anyone to come away from this video thinking that very long periods of someone distancing themselves from you is something that you should just be accepting of by labeling that as avoidant behavior. You should want someone who's more consistently in your life on a weekly basis. And my boyfriend is just so great at just seeing that we are just different. Honestly, I'm going to toot my own horn a little bit here. I think we're both really good at it. Like, this is why I love psychology and I majored in it. And I love having a YouTube channel where I'm talking about psychology because I love understanding the wide variety of the human experience and accepting that people will behave in a way and process things very differently than I do. And that doesn't mean that they're a bad person, that they're a villain, that they're crazy, that they need help. Oh my God, I need to go therapy. There's no need for me to take it so personally and vilify the other person for things that I personally don't relate to. So I think we both are good at not taking things personally about the other person and having these knockdown, drag out fights where we vilify the other person when they do things that we don't personally understand or relate to. And so it helps that my boyfriend is a pretty secure person. He has a couple of anxious traits. With that being said, I wanted to share a recent, I guess maybe it's more of an example than a true story time, but a recent example, a recurring example that I should say in our relationship, and how because I'm allowed to have space and distance to process things by my partner, it helps me to just develop stronger feelings for him. So this cycle has happened a number of times in our relationship in regards to how flexible we are. We both are so different when it comes to flexibility, mainly over our time. Gee, I wonder who's the one who struggles with flexibility. So yeah, he's super spontaneous, super flexible when it comes to his time. He runs a business, he has numerous employees, and he'll have very long days or random days where he has to kind of clock in and deal with the employees all day and other days less. But no matter what day it is, whether it's a busier day or a slower day, he's the kind of person who maybe he'll have super busy couple of days with his job and just different things going on in his life, and maybe parents popping in out of town or something. And he'll still just at the drop of his hat, free up his schedule all the time. I'm the complete opposite. I'm very rigid with my time, with my schedule. I do think a lot of it has to do with me having epilepsy. I take numerous medications and I get very drowsy and tired by 1 p.m. It's not all epilepsy. Some of it's the avoidance, but I do know that part of me being rigid is knowing that my tank empties out so quickly in terms of my energy reserves. That plus the avoidance makes me someone who can just be quite inflexible and quite rigid when it comes to being spontaneous or moving things around in my schedule, or at the drop of a hat, doing something that maybe we hadn't agreed to doing the day before or the morning before. Like, if I had it my way every single time, we would always meet up and spend time together at a time that I've agreed to in advance. I'm just really not good at being spontaneous and flexible. But yeah, so this has been like a recurring conflict in our relationship, where there are just situations where he wants me to be a little bit more flexible. And because he accepts that I am just very different from him, he never chastises me, scolds me, shames me, nags me. He's just always comes from a place of presenting solutions of how can we find a compromise? How can we collaborate here? And sometimes in the moment, I don't agree to something, or I don't process the solution in the moment. But when we have the space from each other, those really allow me to kind of just process things in my own time, really see with distance from whatever was maybe a source of conflict that there's actually no conflict here at all. I could compromise over my flexibility here. I could compromise over my flexibility there. And because he's never shaming me in our differences, I always feel every time we're apart as well that I just love him and have stronger feelings for him even more and more and more, because I just feel so understood by him and accepted by him. So I wanted to just give that little example from my own relationship to put a face to this concept of avoidance falling in love in the absence of their partner. If you have suggestions for other videos, do let me know in the comments, and make sure to check out the other story times that I've published this month. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you for watching.